Have you ever heard the names Hercules or Medusa? These are famous characters and stories from ancient Greece and Rome. Meet Nora. Nora is a classicist. A classicist is someone who studies ancient Greece and Rome. Most classicists have an area they specialize in. For example, some classicists specialize in studying the philosophers, like Socrates from ancient Greece, or the language of Latin. Nora specializes in studying ancient Rome. Ancient Rome refers to the Roman Empire that existed over 2,000 years ago. People study ancient Rome because it was very successful and influential. The Roman Empire ruled over most of the countries along the Mediterranean Sea in Europe. Just take a look at this map. The areas in orange were ruled by the Romans. This means that Rome had the power to spread its language and control trade around Europe. Even today, we are still influenced by ancient Rome. For example, our language, political system, and how we design roads and highways can all be traced back to ancient Rome. As a classicist, Nora studies all aspects of life from ancient Rome. This includes the art of making ceramics. Ceramics is another word for pottery. Today, Nora is investigating pottery and other ceramics from ancient Rome. Nora wants to know if mostly men or women created pottery. Nora wants to study this because she wants to know if pottery was a gendered occupation. This means that only men or women were the ones who made pottery. Nora and other classicists use multiple strategies to study ceramics. They can examine the design and artistry of the pottery. They can also examine the type of clay or decorations that were added to the pieces. Today, Nora is going to use a new technique to analyze ceramics. She is using fingerprint analysis. When most people think of fingerprint analysis, they think of a crime scene investigator who is using fingerprints to figure out who committed a crime. However, classicists can all use fingerprint analysis to examine ancient pottery and figure out if a man or woman created it. To analyze ancient fingerprints on ceramics, Nora first locates the fingerprints on the pottery and scans it into a computer. Then she examines the fingerprint closely so she can figure out if the print belonged to a man or a woman. Nora measures the distance between each ridge or line in a person's fingerprint. The distances between the ridges are wider on the fingerprints of males than on those of females. Nora is examining multiple pieces from ancient Rome. She is looking at about 50 different pieces of pottery. After analyzing the fingerprints on the pottery, Nora determines that about 30 of the pieces were made by women and 20 were made by men. The results of Nora's research tell her that the job of making ceramics and pottery was not gendered, like she had previously thought. This means that both men and women took part in making pottery. Nora finds this interesting because mostly male artists are given credit for ancient ceramics and art. Nora is excited about learning more about these previously unknown artists from the past. Identifying fingerprints from ceramics can also help trace an artist's collection of work. Nora hopes that this technique of looking at fingerprints will give credit to all artists from the past, male and female. It's your turn to go on an adventure and use fingerprint analysis to analyze artifacts from ancient Rome.